What up, everybody? Power Book 2 Go Season 4, Episode 9. The night before Kane and Noma were set to get married, Kane hooked up with Effie, while at the same time his fiancée Noma was hooking up with Davis McLean. The two scenes were shown simultaneously to show the clear difference between the two sessions. Davis and Noma's session was rough and wild, like the two were having drunk sex, while Kane and Effie's was soft and tender, like the two were making love. And it's no secret that Kane would prefer to be with Effie and has real feelings for her as compared to his relationship with Noma, who he married to elevate himself in the game so he could try to live out his dream to be like Bumpy Johnson, Frank Lucas, and Nikki Barnes. And like Kane mentioned to Effie so many times before, that their lives are going in two completely different directions. Effie wants to go to Stanford to study robotics and make it out the game, but Kane has a dream to be the king of New York. When they finished hooking up, they finally got a chance to talk, and their conversation showed just that their lives were heading in two different directions. When Effie was in a relationship with Tariq, she had him convinced to move to Cali with her when she left to go to Stanford. She was hitting this type of thing at Kane when they were laid up together, but they didn't see eye to eye, and Kane even told Effie that he couldn't even promise her that he'd be able to get her out the game, but he said he would talk to Noma about it. This caused Effie to storm out the room and go to the hallway to cry. Keep in mind, in Season 3, she wrote the word freedom on her index card in the Stansfield classroom. Effie's main goal in life is to find a way to make it out the game. But I do feel like Kane genuinely cares for Effie. Like she told him in Episode 7, everything he did with no agenda, she kind of forgot how that feels. Even in Season 3, after Kane found out that it was Effie who they thought killed Lauren, not knowing that she was still alive, Kane was telling Effie that he needed to tell Tariq about that. And one night, Effie sent Kane a text message asking him not to tell Tariq, and he replied back, "I got you." In Season 3, Kane also paid for Effie's tuition at Stansfield, and he dressed up like a lawyer when Effie was in jail, showing that he really does care about Effie. But the two could never be together because, like the title of Episode 9 said, Kane is married to the game. The next day after hooking up with Kane, Effie went to meet up with Tariq and Braden because they needed her help to black out the cameras at the church. And Effie agreed to help as a way to finally get from under Noma's thumb, since Kane obviously wasn't going to be able to make that happen for her. When they met up, Tariq mentioned not letting Kane know what was going on, calling him her little boyfriend, because they didn't know if they could trust him to turn on Noma or not. And Effie mentioned that Tariq was the one with a baby on the way. Obviously, she hadn't got word yet that Diana lost her baby. When Tariq said that was the past, I don't know if Effie picked up that that meant that Diana lost her baby or not. But Effie told Tariq he was the one with the baby on the way. But in reality, I think it might just be the opposite. I think that Kane might have got Effie pregnant the night before when they hooked up at the Tejada bar, making Effie pregnant with the heir of the Tejada family bloodline. And ironically enough, I also think that this child will be named Lorenzo, just like Diana planned on naming her and Tariq's child Lorenzo, because Kane is just a nickname. Kane's government name is Lorenzo Tejada Jr. So I think that Effie's child will be named Lorenzo Tejada III. I think that Effie likely got pregnant and let Kane hit without a condom for a couple of reasons. First, she's still jealous about Tariq getting Diana pregnant, like she told him he was the one with the baby on the way. Second, she's also jealous about Kane getting married to Noma. Almost like, okay, you got the ring, but I'm gonna get pregnant with his child. Then because they showed Effie's mother just a couple episodes ago, I think there's a good chance that Effie is pregnant with Kane's child. And she will have a child in the next book that she is in. But the problem is, I think there will be a bittersweet ending, because Effie might have got pregnant with Kane's child, but Kane might not even live long enough to find out that he has a child on the way. Because right now, after the end of Episode 9, Kane and the rest of the Tejadas only have one thing on their mind, and that's revenge against Noma and her brother to avenge the death of their mother, Monet. And we know that Kane loved his mother more than Drew and Diana put together. I've said in videos before that Drew knew Kane's laptop password because it's Monet Tejada, because Drew always calls Kane a mama's boy. And let me stop there for a second to clear something up, because I saw a lot of people confused after the final scene of episode 9. and Kane talking about Monet protecting him and saying that Kane isn't Monet's real son, that she just found him on the streets and took him in. But that isn't true at all. Kane is 100% Monet's son. Keep in mind the very first flashback scene was with Kane in his high chair and then another one with him in his car seat. That was not Zeke. Monet's family made her give up Zeke to her sister right after she gave birth to him. Neither did Lorenzo ever know about Zeke being Monet's son until the end of season 2. And they even called the kid in the high chair Hurricane in the flashback scene. That's why Kane told Mecca that he's been in the game before he was ever born. And there's been a lot of talk about how Tariq would go on Demon Time if Tasha was killed, but instead we get Kane going on Demon Time to avenge Monet. And something very interesting is Woody McClain, who plays Kane, said on the Your Boyfriend Can't Cook podcast that he only went a 7 out of 10 so far as Kane Tejada gangster-wise. So that means he has 3 whole levels for Kane Tejada to turn up in this finale. So I'm expecting to see Kane on Demon Time like we've never seen him before. The problem is it might just cost him his life, because the finale trailer shows Kane shooting out with the cops on the runway. This could possibly be after killing Noma and her brother, that the cops show up on the scene because of all the gunfire, and the Tejadas don't get a chance to get away after. I can see Kane telling Drew and Diana to pin the whole thing on him, and to say that they only followed their brother to the airport to try to stop him from doing what he did. Then Kane will take a gun and shoot it out with the cops, hoping that they can find a way to get away, but knowing he would likely ultimately be sacrificing himself for his brother and sister, just like Monet did for him. Because a lot of people think that Kane will go out in a similar way that Kanan did, especially after wearing Detective Ramirez's uniform, thinking that this might be a clue. Kane's death has also been foreshadowed a couple times this season. Monet told Diana that if Kane gets involved in their Carter mess, it could get him killed. And Kane told Monet putting Carter against Noma could get him and Drew killed. Not to mention that Lorenzo warned Monet in the flashback scene I mentioned earlier that mixing their kids with business wouldn't end well. The trailer also shows Diana yelling Kane no, like she knows he's about to get killed. And it also shows Drew going up to the police station with a cop, but not wearing handcuffs. And because he's wearing the same clothes, this lets us know that Kane doesn't win the shootout at the airport and the Tejadas don't get away. But because Drew isn't being cuffed, like I said, they'll likely pin the whole thing on Kane after his death. Even if Kane does survive the shootout, maybe he only gets wounded, but he would almost guarantee be going to prison, leaving Effie to raise Lorenzo III all by herself. But this might not necessarily be a bad thing for Effie, because we now know that the stories she told are all true, and that she's been pretty much on her own for her whole life. Having a son, or a child period, will possibly give her that companionship that she's never had before. And maybe her son will also grow up to be a mama's boy who always looks out for his mother, like his father Kane did for his mother Monet. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.